Hi everybody, this is Tor Storley and I am back with another video. In this video, I thought I'll take a look at the Faker package and the Python Faker package, and I will set up a project in VSCode and I will import the Faker package, and if I don't have it, I install it. And then we will see how we can generate some data using it, and how we can maybe put some of that fake data into a database like DuckDB, for example. So I thought I'll make this video and see how that behaves and maybe shed some light on some of those surrounding issues that goes with it. So let me show you very quickly what I did so we don't waste a lot of time. So notice I create a new folder here. I just call it faker.db, and I added a file called getData. So as you can see here, I then went in and I opened it. I set my reference to this Python code library 3.12.3. And this has also DuckDB and this is a conda install. So I'm able to open up my terminal, like as you can see here. I just go to terminal, say a new terminal. And what I did was I just want to figure out what's in here. So the first thing I did was just to do a dir. So the only file that you can see, of course, is this one that I just created. Then I went in and I say conda list, because I want to see if you have pip installed, you can say, use pip to do all this stuff. You can probably do a Google to find these commands that are applied for it. But for me, it's conda list. And then when I looked there, I saw some information here. I saw DuckDB 0.10.2 version, as you can see over here, this one. But I didn't see the Faker package. So if it's sorted correctly here, I should be able to see it. So then I went in, I said, conda install Faker. And then it prompted me for some stuff. And I say yes to it. And then I went ahead and installed this stuff. So now all I have to do is try to do the list again, as you can see here. And hopefully now the Faker package will be in here. So let's see if that's the case. And that appears to be version 25.8.0. Okay, so now I think we're ready to start looking into some of these features in the Faker package. So the first thing to do, obviously, is to go to where there's some information on how to use this package. So you can just go to Faker documentation, just do a Google search, and you'll end up on this page right here. And when I looked at this page briefly just a minute ago, it appears to me that, you can't go wrong with this stuff. There's so many examples and how to use it. It just makes sense. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on trying to tell you how to use this package, because obviously you can just read it right here. So notice the first step. From Faker, import Faker. That's probably the first code line we should start with. And you can see it up here too. If you pip install Faker, you see here, you can still use faker.faker like this, but capital F on the second part here. So let's just go and add this to our code right here. All right, so that's the first step you need to do, obviously. And I'm just going to save this file here. Let me see if I can run it actually. Okay, so it ran fine, no problem there. So it appears like we have the Faker package installed. So now it's a matter of going and actually look at the documentation and figure out exactly what kind of data we want to create. So you could have like English, US, Japanese data, I guess. So you can see you're getting, different results depending on what you're doing. So I'm going to spend a little time going through some of this. But let's take a look at some of this information and cherry pick some of it, and then we'll generate some data and see how we can use that. So I wanted to show you some very powerful stuff. If you scroll down in documentation a little bit and you look down here, you can see there's something called providers. And the providers, you can see you can have some more information about them here, community providers, etc. But what I did was I open up these providers here. So when you look at them, notice there's all these categories. So you have automotive, bank, barcode, color, company, credit card, currency, date, time, emoji, and so forth. So it's all kinds passport, person, profile. For some of them that you're interested in, click into them. So for example, if you click into automotive here, right? So that's this guy here. When you click in, notice it gives you a sample of how to actually create some fake data for automobile license plates, for example, and VIN numbers. You also have for credit cards, you can generate for different kind of groups. Notice here you got Discovery, you got MasterCard, you got Visa, and then depending on what kind of Visa card, you can have 16 digits, etc. So if I want to run something like this and use the Visa 16 because I want to create a column in a table of some sort that has some credit card information, I can go to these providers. Notice they have expiration. You can even do a full one. So if you look down here, notice here they give you a credit card and the name of the person and the digits for the credit card, the expiration and so forth, and then maybe the PIN number or the code itself. So there's all kinds of information you can generate here. Here's another one for currency. You can see here, you can get for different currencies. You can see it like this. The only trick that I had problems with initially was how do I set this up initially, because this doesn't really tell me much right here, because you have to start somewhere, but they tell you like the provider up here. So you can see there's emojis, but you probably need to know the Unicode for it. However, what I did was I took some of this stuff and I went in here and I used this from Faker providers, import, and then I chose internet, the job, and credit card. Now you can add whatever you want here. And then you set up a initialization for the Faker code itself, by you initialize this variable. And then I simply add the provider here, as you can see. And I add the credit card provider and the job provider. So this method seems to work. Now you got to kind of figure out what should you put here when you import it, because that's going to be important. Notice what I did with my credit card. I set a credit card number and the card type, I want 16 digits. So it matches. So when I run this file now, so let me just run this for you. So say run a debug and run code. Notice down here, it gives me an internet or an IP address, if you will. It gives me a currency type, as you can see here, this one. And it gives me a 16-digit credit card number, Visa 16, I guess it is. And then for here, you can see this is a job title. So you can put this in a for loop and then you can generate as many as you want for these type of things by using these providers. So that comes in really handy actually. Another nice thing is you can print out names based on locales. So if you go and look in the documentation, you can see there's a reference here to localization in the Faker documentation. If you look down here, I had problems with Norway. I was trying to print out Norwegian names, but it didn't work. But some of these other ones worked fine. So what I did was, you can see over here, for example, if you want English India, EN_IN, and for example, France is FR. It's hard to read here because it's in green, but if you zoom in a little bit, you can see here is the codes that they're using for the localization. So what I did was I took a few of these codes and I just set up a little loop sequence. I comment out this stuff from the previous one, and I set up another Faker here, and then I based the Faker on the locale, as you can see here. And here is the different types of names, if you will. So when you print them out, I have it in groups. So for example, here you can see you're getting Italian names, you're getting US names, this one, and DA for Denmark, you can see the Danish names, and you're getting German names here, DE, and Spanish names like this. So you can use this technique to generate depending on locale as well. So that comes in pretty handy. Another thing you can also do is if you want repeatable results, if you're familiar with R and software like that, you can set a seed and then it will produce the same output every time, even though it's random. So here you can do the same thing. You can set up a seed and therefore you will get the same output that appears just like you do in R. So that set seed comes in handy as well. Okay, so I created a second script here, as you can see. I'm importing DuckDB, and I'm importing the Faker code, or the package, if you will. Here I'm setting an initialization to a reference to it. And here I'm creating a connection to my DuckDB. So I'm going to create this database here as part of the script. This is the execute statement to create the table. So the table is going to be called customers inside this database. So it's not going to be an in-memory. It's going to be a physical database. Here is just fields that we want to populate. So the idea here is that you have a customer base that is across different countries, and you want to populate that with fake data. So you're going to need an ID, name, address, city, province, country, credit card, latitude, longitude. So assuming it's a customer type of table. If you want to generate 1,000 rows, we could make this 10,000, I guess. I guess a little larger, but so you create a variable to hold the output from the fake generation. So here you're going to generate a random integer, and between 1 and, so here's the ideas that it's going to generate. And you have a name, you have address, and you have city, state, country, credit card. So all this is going to be fake data. Then I'm going to use the connection I have set up here, and I'm going to insert into that customers table in that customers database. And then commit it. And then afterwards, just so we can see some data, we'll fetch some data out of it so we can actually see it and print it out. So it's not going to look pretty, but, let's just give it a shot and see what happens. So I'm going to run this code now. And down here in the terminal, you're probably going to see some output. So let me run this. And it's spinning. And it generated a database over here, you can see. And notice it comes back with, obviously it gives you like a header tail kind of output. So it's taking out the middle rows here. So as you can see, it produced 1,000 rows. And it started at an ID of 0. Anyways, you can see here there's a credit card generated, there's lat and long generated, and you have some names. Now, we don't see all the columns here, but you can easily get them yourself by, doing some targeted kind of queries. You kind of reduce the number of columns if you don't want to see it all. So anyways, I thought this was a way you can actually generate some fake data and stick it into a local database so you can work with it. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, make sure you give me a like and consider subscribing to my channel. That'd be great. Have a wonderful day, night, wherever you happen to be in the world. We'll see you soon. Thank you.